All right. See, there's not really much of a delay when you hit start streaming. You hit start streaming within 1 second.
You're just making fun of me the whole time. Well, because here it's great because when I upload the audio versions, I don't have to edit audio because when we do ours, there's no obligatory audio check. We just start.
We just go for it.
We just go for it.
Hello.
Did you guys like that really organic start?
That's exactly how it is.
I know I did. But tonight we're gonna talk about Venom.
Venom.
And
Venom.
And if you don't like it, I'm gonna rub some dirt in your eye.
What is that from?
That's
I'm gonna
from
rub
Spider-Man 3.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna rub some dirt in your eye.
I'm gonna rub some dirt.
That was such a terrible movie.
It was it was. There's no.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
You want me to rub some dirt in your eye?
We'll rub some dirt in your eye.
I can't remember any of the. Oh, you gonna cry? I'm fucking obsessed with those Bully Maguire videos.
That was so good.
I think my favorite one is the Star Wars one where he takes place of Darth Maul. Oh, that's funny as shit. Because after he kills Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan goes, no! And he just goes, you gonna cry?
You gonna cry? That stuff is so funny.
It's too funny.
Oh, excuse me, people.
So, yeah,
I gotta lean back. Feeling
and
a little
before
fat.
we get into the movie, it was your first Dolby experience, and I learned an extremely valuable lesson. Don't sit in the back row.
Did. Yeah, it was my idea to sit in the back row because a lot of the good seats were taken.
I did not even consider it.
We wasted the good seats on you. But yes, it was not fun. Our ears bled.
The reason being, apparently in Dolby, they have giant-ass speakers right behind the seats. So the plus side was we got vibrating chairs and didn't even have to put a quarter in.
Magic fingers. It wasn't like so much of the bass. It was the loud points. And
Yeah.
Venom, or not Venom, but Carnage
The high pitch.
screeches constantly.
Yeah.
And it like, our
And it
ears
was
bled.
right there.
It was fucking,
So
it
we
was
learned.
bad. But
You-
very enjoyable.
You got to give Dolby another shot, but sit
Yeah,
more central.
I believe you. And we
Because
will.
I'll be honest, like it was borderline. It didn't affect my opinion of the movie, but it was not. I would not recommend Dolby if that was my only experience, because I that was a little.
Those speakers in the back were getting the best of us.
Yep. So I assume we want to start with what we liked.
Or we could just. Yeah, that works. Go ahead.
Or maybe we just go with the shit that we hated to get the clicks.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot that I hated about the movie.
I shouldn't say hated.
I thought because I remember watching the first trailer, and I remember hearing Venom's voice, and I was not happy with it. I'm pretty sure I told you. I was like, man, that sounds kind of stupid. But then watching the movie, it was better than I thought, and it wasn't that I hated Venom's voice. It was how he was talking, how he was communicating. He was more buddy-like.
Yeah,
but it worked.
And this movie, much like a lot of movies that are coming out, particularly in the superhero genre, but really anything coming out in the action genre, and it's partially because it's the MCU's fault, but people are trying to emulate it, but they're failing.
Mm-hmm.
This movie had a tone problem.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is they were trying to make it an action-adventure story. They were also trying to make it a buddy comedy. Like this one was significantly more comedic than the first one, but it felt forced.
Yeah, so I will say that some of the jokes, like it was just like they were just really trying really hard to get laughs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I laughed quite a bit.
Yeah,
but it was like really cheesy.
Sometimes most of the time it took away from the action because. And the biggest problem with the tone in this movie is you're dealing with Cletus Cassidy, Carnage, who is a serial killer. And in this one, he kind of seemed like a...
rational. He was not as crazy as he was in the comics or even the 94 cartoon. Do you remember Spider Wars?
Yep.
Where was it Spider?
Shit.
Oh, that was great. what was it? Spider Carnage. Was it Spider Carnage where it was Spider-Man, but it was Carnage with a symbiote, and he wanted to erase all universes
I
because
believe
he
so.
the multiverse the multiverse whatever it was the thing where they used to go between different universes. He was literally going to put a bomb inside of it and destroy all reality.
Yeah.
And
One
that was
sec.
Peter Parker. And it was just because Mary
check.
Jane died.
I just want to check our audio because,
Oh yeah, we're good.
well, I'm seeing it looks like we should be echoing, but no, we're good.
It sounds a lot better this week.
Well, I think it's my headset. It's that damn headset.
Did you use the other headset last week?
No, I used mine. Benji was using these, and you two sounded fine, but I sounded.
We did do three.
Constant.
Okay. Well, it wasn't last week. It was the week before. Uh, but yeah. So anyway, back to Carnage. He wasn't seemingly as crazy. It made it more of for him a love story.
Yeah, which was fucking weird because okay, so and this isn't a criticism of the movie because
It's just an observation.
this is an observation based on someone who was a fan of the comics. Carnage is obsessed with Dr. Kafka. That's always been a part of his. Well, I don't know about always because some of the newer ones might have changed it, but at least when we were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
Cletus Cassidy Carnage was obsessed with Dr. Kafka. Not even in a romantic way, in a sense,
Just as he cares for her.
but at the same time, he's a homicidal maniac and like wants to kill her. But like he wants to be the one to kill
Right.
her. And it was really disappointing for me because I thought when I saw that Woody Harrelson was playing Cletus Cassidy, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna knock it out of the park. I don't blame him though. I blame direction. I think he was given. Well, and plus, this movie was probably killed in the editing room because a lot of the scenes didn't flow together.
You know, they Cletus Cassidy in the movie, he gloated about the murders.
Well, and he did that in the comics as well, but it wasn't.
But
so
hold
much,
on, my point is he gloated about the murders, but he just didn't seem crazy. But the thing is, he killed his own dad,
Well, and what I was gonna add
and it just I don't know.
is
It
in
was
the
just
comics when he recounts them, it's less gloating and he's much more matter of fact about it. Like he's justified it in his own mind.
mhm. He's just like, yeah, I did it.
Whereas in this one, it seemed like he was gloating. Like, look how crazy I am. It was like they were trying to make a male Harley Quinn, but with less comedy.
I don't want to get political, but
Oh,
he
no.
was AOC.
Oh,
Look how good I am. All right, that's it. No more jokes. No more political jokes.
well, it's funny because I've discovered this YouTube channel called The Critical Drinker. Oh, it's hilarious. It's funny. For those of you who know, it's a very thickly accented Scotsman who reviews media. And it's very good because I tend to agree with him on almost everything. And he points that out. And again, this movie didn't suffer from it as much. But if you don't recognize that there is a trend in cinema and television lately of certain themes, and I'm making this a game to try to not be overly political, but ideologies that are shoved down our throats via Hollywood, you're not going to the movies. It wasn't really bad in Venom, but in other movies it's terrible. Wonder Woman 1984 comes to mind.
Yeah, Venom was actually. I think they decided they wanted to make the film actually successful.
Yeah, but I preferred the first one a lot more.
Oh no, not Wonder Woman in 1984.
No, I'm talking about Venom.
Oh, the first one was classic.
That one was almost perfect.
Almost. There was just a few
for
things.
what it was.
I will say though, when he in spoiler alert, obviously you've had a couple. When Venom was in Miss Chan, that was so funny.
That was funny. But again,
Hi.
so and this is why it was kind of hard because I was trying to figure out whether I liked it or didn't, or for what it is, it's all right. It's pretty good. But if you're looking at it in terms of like what makes a good movie and story, I mean, it's kind of like a C minus.
You know,
But this is popcorn fare. This is not.
what kind of irritates me a little bit is that I understand Venom is a symbiote, and the way it works is they bond together. But when Venom comes out, it's all Venom. But in the comics, it seemed it was more of a melded character. It was both of them together. But in this
Yeah.
one, it seems like it's just Venom or Eddie Brock. Even
Yeah.
though in the comics and whatnot, and even the cartoons, it seemed like they were still a mixture.
Right, because in virtually all other media, Venom influences the personality of the host.
And he didn't have his name Venom
Bully Maguire comes
until
to
he
mind.
became, until he melded. Well, yeah. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it's We Are Venom,
Yeah, and then that because he didn't really have a name, and he's like, "We are Venom.
which you probably, I don't know how many times you said.
We
that
are
growing up.
Legion. I am many."
Well, that's actually where it comes from.
I know. I love that line.
Yeah.
What was that? That's actually been said in a couple movies.
Well, it's also from the Bible.
Oh, woo!
But that's where the line comes from.
We are
Don't ask me
Legion.
the name of the demon, but it's the one that Jesus drives it out into the pigs. But there's a shit ton of demons in one dude, and it says we are. I don't know about all translations, but every translation I've ever read says we are legion, for we are many. And then Jesus is like, fuck out that dude.
Not getting into Bible talk. This is gonna be very quick, and we're not gonna stay on this. But the actual there was a guy who specializes in Hebrew tran. I can't talk.
Translation.
Translations. Thank you. He and he was saying that the beginning of the Bible, a lot of people who anyway.
You
So
saw this video on TikTok too.
yeah, did you see that?
Yeah.
It was awesome. And he goes, it's not in the beginning, it's in a beginning. And I was like,
I
oh,
can't,
that's
I can't
that's really
verify
cool.
that because I don't speak Hebrew. That's the problem with biblical scholarship is
Yeah.
there's a lot. Well, the one thing I do know.
I don't take it as truth. I take it as a good story, just like everything.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. Is like, here's the thing about Hebrew, because not only is it a language that we don't speak,
We lost light.
but biblical texts in Hebrew were often there's a specific form of poetry that's written specifically in Hebrew. It's a way of speaking where it may or may not be a direct translation.
Mhm.
I guess it would kind of be equivalent to like trying to translate a haiku in its original Japanese.
Well, it's like when you try to translate any language into English, it
But more so here
doesn't
because
translate
the problem,
correctly.
But the problem with haiku is you have to match up the syllables.
Right.
So they might say something in a way because they have to match the syllable count,
Right.
but our direct translation may not be the most apt, especially when you're talking in metaphors.
Right. All right, back to Venom.
Well, no, I mean it's interesting to bring up the Bible because a lot of our modern stories
Are from.
are inspired, at least in part inspired
Mhm.
from biblical stories or at least ancient texts. You can usually tie it. I mean, look at Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, and then that goes into Carl Jung because Campbell was a student of Jung, but like that whole trajectory of the hero's journey, that archetype is from old stories, and Joseph Campbell and Jung respectively, Jung and Campbell respectively just identified that track and put it to paper. But every great story that we tell as humans, arguably since the beginning of written history that we know of, all follows a certain pattern.
Heroes and everything. Like, not the show
Well,
Heroes.
it's so you start out with someone who's naive, doesn't know about the world, then they're taken into the unknown in some fashion. That can literally be the unknown or be put in a situation that they've never experienced. They usually will encounter a mentor character, otherwise known as the wizard or the mystic, who acts as a mentor in the new world. They learn that person usually dies or disappears, and there's just a lot of different archetypes. But any good movie that follows a sensible story trajectory, you can identify at least parts of the hero's journey in there.
Does your brain like short circuit every now and then?
Sometimes.
For like how much you know. You know
I just-
way you know a lot of stuff, and that's actually awesome. I mean, I know a lot of
I
stuff
watch
too.
a lot of YouTube and podcasts like the Average Intelligence Podcast. Well, so let's make this interesting.
I do too. I listen to it while I drive.
So let's make this interesting though. Let's look at Venom in the context of the hero's journey. So we're gonna have to go with back to the first one. So
Lethal Protector. Well, that's so 80s.
Kick-ass comic book series though.
Oh yeah. Was Lethal Protector from the planet of symbiotes?
No, that was in the Spider-Man canon.
Okay.
That was just after he was like,
Couldn't
yeah,
remember.
I don't want to kill Spider-Man anymore.
I know you read the comics way more than I did. I was lazy. Well, actually, I don't think my parents would get me the comics. I think I ended up just watching the series, which, by the way, hands down, the best Spider-Man cartoon series was the '94 version, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
The you know, the mechanical sounding voice.
Actually, I'm gonna take that back. We're
I-
talking about Venom versus.
I do like
Carnage.
Spider-Man Ultimate, where Drake Bell voiced him. Did you ever watch that? It was
I've
really good.
seen it.
I liked
I'm
it.
Not, I don't know. The jury's out on that for me.
Now, compared to the '94 version, no.
Well, just
love
because
the animation in it.
I tend to not like the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Style series. Well, that's what we have right
no,
now.
like even in the comics, I just don't like that series.
Well, that's what we have right now with within the MCU and
Right.
and Sony.
And it's honestly it's my least favorite.
Yeah. And, by the way, the clip, if you didn't watch the movie, at the end, it showed Venom basically seeing Spider-Man. So, yeah, Doctor Strange basically put their universes together. I think that's kind of what it seeming like.
that's going to be problematic. I'm trying not to get my hopes up for that movie.
It's like, did he move Peter Parker to a different universe unknowingly? Like, I'm just speculating. But that's what it kind of seems like.
That's what it looks like.
Well, actually, no. Maybe he combined. I don't know because
they don't
because
go
Venom.
to-
Remember, Eddie Brock was in that guy. He's
It
like, "What are you
seems-
doing in my condo?"
It seems like they're combining it.
Hey, I'm all for it. I love collabs.
I'm just hoping we get to see on screen all three.
All three Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. And it's like each movies has its pros and cons, but at the end of the day, we still love them because they're Spider-Man movies.
Well, and I mean, for me personally, this is my favorite. Not excluding the second one because that was a piece of shit, but not because of the
Spider-Man 2 or Amazing Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man. I still think the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, I think it's the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
Loved it because he was a smartass and a scientist.
Well, but that is going with the Amazing Spider-Man. Like, even in the comic, the comics they're drawing from are the Amazing Spider-Man. The first run, the original Peter Parker, updated obviously, but
He's a skateboarder. Yeah.
that's the updated part. But
Ollie 15 feet high, and you're like, I was like, oh, okay.
well, and then you got Sam Raimi Spider-Man, which takes bits and pieces from the Amazing Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. Mary Jane Living Next Door, for example. That's part of Ultimate Spider-Man.
I don't
not
think
Amazing
any
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man though had where Peter Parker had that. That was so dumb. That pissed us off
It really was.
because I was like, technically he has an unlimited web supply.
But that takes away tension. Because how many times has Spider-Man been like, oh shit, I'm out of web, or oh shit, he crushed my web shooters?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one's like, oh, I just hand jizz.
Remember?
Up
Go
on
web.
the web.
Go web.
So here's the other problem with that, with it being organic. What fucking idiot's just like, I wonder if this will work.
Yeah.
Who does that? Unless you've seen a Spider-Man comic, no child does this. It's uncomfortable.
And you can see he's physically pushing hard.
Yeah. And plus, you'd have to get to the bottom of your palm and just like.
It's
pull
like,
it.
hey guy, those two things, press the web shooter. That's why I was there.
Like, I guess it would have made
They were just trying to save some time, explanation, and was seemingly a scientist, but they had to get the backstory in. You know, poor Uncle Ben's had to die 14 times in all these movies.
Which the Amazing Spider-Man has the best Uncle Ben death scene out of all of them too.
I can't remember how to go.
It's the one where he literally sees it happen on the street, and then he actually has a legitimate emotional reaction, like you would have if you watched someone you love die.
and not just find him laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Peter,
Uncle Ben?
Peter.
And then something Andrew Garfield did that I'm willing to bet it was intentional, but like it was sloppy. It was sloppy cry. I think there was like spit coming down. There might have been some snot, but like that was fucking real, and it hit. And the score in that scene is fucking perfect because it's just dead silent, and then right when Uncle Ben goes for it, it just comes right back.
Oh, that's right.
But
Because
there's this-
didn't Uncle Ben fight?
Yeah, but then
Well,
there's
try
just
to.
this moment of a pause where like we're all Spider-Man fans, but we're hoping like we know what's gonna happen, but we hope like, oh fuck, don't do it. And then he just boom. Now the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was fucking terrible. But because Jamie Foxx has his nose everywhere in Hollywood, Electro's gonna be in Spider-Man No Way Home for some reason.
What?
Yeah, he's in there.
That's like Will Smith in the first Suicide
Squad.
Suicide Squad. Man, I'm dead. I've been running all day.
You and me both. I actually, the reason I was a little late, we were supposed to start at 9, but my ass had to drive to and from Chicago. And of course, like always, I hit traffic on the way back, so a drive that should take 3.5 hours took 4.5 hours.
Oh, were you coming from Chicago?
Well, I had to stop at home to let the damn dog out.
Okay. Damn dog.
Well, and she didn't want to go outside, but I'm like, no, if you don't go outside, you're going to piss in my house, and we're going to have a problem.
His dog has the coolest name.
Oh, it's so stupid.
No, it's cool. Mamas. Mamas. I don't. How you?
Mamas.
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 No mas.
No ma.
Mama. No ma.
Uno ma.
Uno mas. That was a good movie.
I rewatched it recently. It holds up.
I need to
So good.
rewatch it. It's been a long time.
It's still good.
Talking about Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights. Shanghai Noon was better.
Oh, much better. That's usually the case with sequels. Sometimes there are happy accidents. Like the, we're just going way off the rails here, but like the Dark Knight series.
Or Terminator 2. The first one was gold. Second one, fan-fucking-tastic. Third one, not so much.
And then pretty
Next
much
one,
everything after
nah.
that.
Nah.
Just rehashing the plot of the first movie.
Pretty
To a
much.
point.
And because they
Well,
kept
more like the
changing
second,
time,
'cause
they
they
kept
usually-
changing time.
Yeah, usually rips off the plot of the second movie because they usually have a Terminator helping them.
So, Venom.
Yeah, back to Venom.
I mean, we kind of just botched the whole things we didn't like and things we liked. We kind of just
We're just talking
we just
about
put them
it now.
together. Yeah, we're just talking about it.
Because I also don't have any notes now, so
Yeah, we're just going off the cranium.
going right off the dome.
Let's see what.
I thought the entire club scene where Venom goes out on his own could have.
That was hilarious,
It
dude.
was
I liked
funny.
it.
It was
But it was
funny,
silly
but
because
not
I'm like, you
necessary.
can look at it and realize it's not a costume. If he looked exactly like what he did with CGI and everything like that, I look at that shit and I'd be like, that's real. I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge because he's gonna eat me.
Well, it's funny you say that, and I agree with you.
Actually, if he was just being nice, but the thing is, one wrong turn and he's gonna start eating people's heads. Brains. I didn't know he needed brains. It was because of the chemical.
I want to say
in
they
brains.
established that in the first one, but it was kind of like
Chicken brains are nasty. That was so funny. And they're stupid. Well, what were the names of those chickens in the apartment? They named chickens, and they weren't gonna eat them.
it was clever too. I just can't remember.
Francis.
I can't remember.
Francis and something, but that shit was hilarious. There was a lot of funny points, but like some of the funny points were just forced. Like I said, it was just kind of like a person who's not entirely funny trying to make jokes, and they will make you laugh, but at the same time you're just like laughing along with everyone else because you feel like uncomfortable.
So the MCU has set up this standard, and they did it
Where it has to be funny.
Well, but they did it well because they don't. First of all, almost none of the humor in the MCU movies, at least in Phase 1, or where are we at? Are we in Phase 4? I can't remember.
Phase 4.
Up until Endgame.
Endgame was the end of Phase 3.
Yeah, well, and there are even parts of Endgame where the humor is a little bit too much considering what's at stake. But I'd say up until Infinity War, it was done pretty well perfectly, where like none of the humor was forced and it was effectively used to break the tension. But after that, they're kind of forcing jokes because they've gotten a formula that works, but now they're beating it into the ground. And yeah, Venom was no exception. Thor Ragnarok did that too, I thought.
I don't care what anyone says, dude. I love Thor Ragnarok.
I liked it.
Rockman was my favorite.
I liked it, but to me, it seemed like it was too funny.
I like funny. I like funny and
funny too.
action too, because the thing is, like, it. I don't know, like when it's just straight action, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, no story, all action. I think that's where
that's what I'm saying.
That's where that one lacked. But like you can't have too much of the other. So I get what you're saying. But Thor Ragnarok, I love the way they did that.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
The Rockman made that whole movie.
I'm just saying a lot of the humor was. I'm not even gonna say it was forced. It just seemed like there was too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little bit too much SJW shit. It wasn't really bad in Thor Ragnarok, though.
I wasn't saying I didn't catch it.
Well, okay, I should say the seeds were planted for it. It didn't really happen in Thor Ragnarok. It would come later, but we're getting off topic again. Venom! Yeah, I thought I thought it was interesting, though, how, like, his squeeze, if you will, Carnage's squeeze, her power is a supersonic scream.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if like me as the...
If she does that again.
Well, but see, here's the thing, though. Me as the overactive thinker, which I had a problem with this, but it worked in the context of the movie, is... Literally, when I saw that she screamed, I was like, oh, that's going to be a problem.
Why do I feel that Carnage's voice was voiced by Tom Hardy as well? It sounded similar, did it not?
Yeah.
And I was like, I get that it's Venom's so-and-so offspring, but it was wild how that worked.
Yeah.
He bit him, and then it just got into his blood, and then it just created carnage. And I was like, I get it, because it's a symbiote, and he took a little bit with him when he bit him, because technically it runs through Eddie Brock's veins.
Yeah. I mean, it made sense, again, in the context of the film. We know, like, at least in the comic book side, that's not how it's done, but it worked in the movie. So. Yeah,
I can't remember in the comic books how did Carnage come to be.
I cannot remember for the
I think it was because Venom is not female. They're asexual.
Eddie Brock dropped Venom for a time. I know that, and it was during that time, and I could be misremembering. So nerds in the comments section, let me know.
So Venom actually went to Cletus Cassidy.
I don't think it was Cletus Cassidy though.
It was someone else.
Yeah. But then I'm also remembering in Lethal Protector, they used Carnage to make a bunch of other Spawn.
Yeah, I like Venom the movie, but I don't like the world of symbiotes. It's just...
Yeah, it seems like... Well, here's the problem, because apparently with every generation they get stronger. Eventually you'd have something unbeatable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, even though he's stronger, they still killed him.
Yeah, I know.
And I did not like that because he ate Cletus Cassidy's head. I was like, they ended Cletus Cassidy's freaking run already.
I did
that
not.
was way too fast.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. But
he didn't miss much though because he died. It's not like he's coming back.
That was way too fast. Like they shouldn't have killed him off. Because
there
could have been more.
It would have been nice how I would have rewritten that, and I can tie this into the point I was talking about before. So like being the overthinker I am when I'm watching a movie, I'm always
on.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
I'm always looking for plants and payoffs. So I saw that and I was like, oh, that's her power is supersonic screaming, knowing what I know about symbiotes from the comics and the first movie.
I told you. Needed more carnage for him not to be killed off, but other than that, I like it. 100% agree. And with the Spider-Verse too, that makes absolute sense.
Yep.
That was a little disappointed that they killed him off so fast.
Yeah, but it was funny. I remember when we saw the first Venom, we were like...
Hold on. I got to say this. With what happened at the end, though, with the universes, with Doctor Strange, perhaps Cletus Cassidy survived in another universe, so they can bring him back.
Yeah, and then I remember what we talked about when the first Venom came out, because we saw that too. We even said, we both were kind of like, it's kind of weird that there's no Spider-Man. But now there very well could be a Spider-Man in terms of Venom. They have to change the story around a little bit, but Venom could theoretically get that spider.
And at the same time, since this is technically another universe or whatnot, it might not be Venom that we know from this movie. It might be another Venom, and then that could still happen with Spider-Man because it's all possible with the multiverse.
Well, because remember in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, there is the Venom symbiote. It just
terrible
it's just,
explanation.
yeah.
It came from the space station.
What I mean, technically that's correct.
This is the Russian space station.
This is the Russian space station.
That's a good movie too.
Yeah, it is.
Armageddon.
I watched that. Oh God, it was about a month ago. I watched it. I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. It's ridiculous, but it's not that bad. It's up there with Independence Day.
Listen, hold on though. You just mentioned Independence Day, and I'm getting ready to go into Independence Day. Will Smith's new thing coming out, Welcome to Earth. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, he's coming out with a show where he literally goes and like does things that he's uncomfortable with, like jumping off cliffs and shit like that.
Yeah,
and it looks pretty good, but it's called
It does.
Welcome to Earth. And anytime I see that, I'm thinking, Welcome to Earth.
Oh God, how many times did we quote that in 1997?
Oh yeah, and I never said Earth. It was Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, Welcome to Earth.
I love Will Smith. I
That
don't care
and
though.
then
Except Will Smith for Suicide Squad. You were good in it, but it should have just been called Deadshot.
yeah, for real.
The first one.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the second one.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble.
The second one's entertaining, but I mean it's very much in the same vein of the first one. King Shark makes it worth it.
Oh yeah. All right. So back to Venom.
Oh yeah. So anyway,
I got.
So I saw that her power was supersonic screaming, and I'm like, okay, that's going to be a problem. So I saw that they planted that, and then they reinforced it when she used it when he had Carnage, and Carnage was like, she does that again. So what that did was it created conflict between Cletus Cassidy and Carnage. So they're not and I think
It was not a perfect bond.
I think Eddie, which is bullshit because Cletus Cassidy and Carnage go together like fucking lamb and tuna fish.
Perhaps
Spaghetti
you
and
spaghetti meatball.
You like this analogy?
Damn you give him all the easy ones.
Hip hop anonymous.
Oh, I win. Why do you win? Because I
This
win.
bullshit.
We're gonna have one podcast, and we're just gonna do all quotes from all
Oh
movies.
God.
And this will have to take place when we have more subs and more people watching, because that would be really great if we don't say anything and you guys guess the movie. That would be fun. Future idea.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Start subscribing.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And hopefully big things to come. Maybe your new studio. Maybe.
Maybe we may or may not have talked off air.
Maybe. Hopefully it all comes to fruition. But anyway, Venom.
Venom.
There was a new Eminem song on it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I didn't like it as much as the first
You're
Venom
not
song.
gonna beat Venom.
Venom, 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 Venom. In that whole rhyme scheme, it was all different words. And a lot of people don't realize that. They just think he's saying Venom over. And it's like, no, he says something like Venom, Venom.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I've never looked up lyrics.
Because he took those lyrics and he's like, I'm gonna Eminem him.
Eminem. I can rhyme sometimes.
Venom can eat M&Ms to get his nourishment because they have chocolate.
Yeah, that was a funny thing. Miss Chan was his drug dealer with chocolate.
Why don't I wonder? And they may have done
Why don't they just rob a chocolate factory? It's Venom.
Well, I mean, chocolate's not exactly in short supply.
Like, that's my point. So I was like, why didn't you just go to like somewhere, a chocolate fountain, just like.
Well, to quote the critical drinker, because reasons. Why they didn't do it.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna continue going. Because of reasons.
Well, he does this hilarious thing when he's going through a movie where there's a bunch of like things that don't make sense.
I'm gonna have to check this guy out.
Oh, he's fucking hilarious. But like, because I listened to one from Wonder Woman 1984, and I just adjusted my nutsack again on air. This is why I missed the table.
Right. The table will return.
No, but he's
eventually.
What is this like? Why didn't she just use her superpowers to do this? Funny how they run into him randomly in Egypt, and then like he goes through a list of things. He's like, why didn't they do this? Don't know. Or he's like,
is he foreign or is he making
he's
that
from
back?
Scottish.
Oh, okay.
Or he's from Scottish.
Scotland.
Jesus.
He's from Scotland.
He's from Scotland.
Son of a bitch.
But yeah, and then he does this other thing. He was like, they go after him even though it doesn't make any sense because reasons.
We got the Clark Kent Carl Carl. Clark Kent Carl.
Coral.
Coral. Got the curl
Tony
going
and
on.
Coral.
I need a haircut.
Oh, speaking of,
Okay.
I actually didn't think we'd get a chance to talk about this, but you brought this up. Guess who's coming out as bisexual?
Don't say Tom Hardy.
No, it's a fictional character.
Spider-Man.
Nope. I think that already happened.
I think they actually had a gay Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think.
I don't really give a shit.
Superman is now bisexual.
That makes sense.
Why?
Because didn't he plow the Invisible Man in the ass on accident?
I think you're
Remember the joke? No, Wonder Woman was laying spread eagle on a rooftop, and she was, it seemed like she was taking care of herself, and Superman says, "Oh, I can go down there and hit it real quick." And then all of a sudden, the Invisible Man's like, "Oh my gosh, what the hell happened? My ass hurts."
That's terrible.
Superman.
No, and so to clarify, because I guess there's a lot. Imagine that there's a lot of heat on Twitter about this. What you have to understand, because I read that and I'm like, wow, that's pretty bold for DC. I mean, whatever, but turns out. But here we go again, because I've talked about this on the podcast.
He's married to fucking Lois Lane.
Well, okay, so it's not Clark Kent.
It's
technically his son. Who?
Superboy.
Well, but he becomes Superman because his dad's like, you know what, son?
It's time to don the cape, even though I live forever.
I mean, basically, he's like, but Dad, I like men too. It's like, well, that's okay, son. I mean, you're wearing a cape.
It's like, we don't care.
You're wearing a cape and wear your underwear on the outside. So.
Nothing can surprise us anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like, when did you figure it out? We knew for years.
I just, I will say this, though. I like how Batwoman, Ruby Rose, got replaced because she
didn't get replaced. She quit.
Well, she technically got replaced because the thing is they were going to put in a African-American.
They did.
Yeah. Well, the reason she did that because she was advocating for more African-Americans, and they was like, whoa, what about Batgirl?
Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah, and I thought that was hilarious. And I was like, look, you're what's the word I'm looking for?
Gay?
Social, something.
Social justice warrior?
Something, I can't remember what the word is. But anyway, so basically, she was advocating for that. And then they basically was like, yeah, okay, so we're going to put this. And then she's like, I don't like that idea.
Well, guess what? You're fired.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think you ever watched the crossover between the DC shows where she was Batgirl and
Batgirl or Batwoman?
Batwoman, I
with
think.
The red hair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't care for it. Like, I mean,
Two
she
different
was okay, but it was just.
I haven't watched the show.
I don't think Ruby Rose is all that. Everybody's like, she's so hot. I'm like, she looks like a boy,
well, I mean,
except for her face. That's it.
That's what she's going for. But I watched her in Orange Is the New Black, and I was not impressed.
She's got no body.
Well, that's not even the issue. She's just not a good actress.
Is the issue that matters? You gotta have stuff. I'm not gonna say anything.
Well, she goes for that androgynous look.
Yeah.
So I mean that's quasi intentional, but fuck. Oh yeah, so Supes is gay, but only in a limited series. So my point, I talked about it on the podcast before. This whole bullshit thing of virtue signaling tokenism.
Virtue signaling. Thank you. That was what I was looking for earlier.
So and you can tell what they're doing because I think it was the official Twitter of Superman where they're like, Superman comes out as bisexual, and but they don't tell you the details. They just get people up in arms. But then, and the comments are like, it's in this limited run, Son of Kal-El, which is like a mini series. So, and it's not really Kal-El, it's his son. It's like, that's not what you said. Like, it just pisses me off because
it doesn't satisfy their hunger.
It doesn't satisfy either side, though, because it pisses the people off who are Superman purists who actually think that his sexuality matters, which it kind of does in the context of the story, considering how involved he is with Lois Lane. But let's pretend for a minute that that's not an issue. Whether or not Superman likes dudes, chicks, or both has no bearing whatsoever on whether or not he will save the world, except maybe he's more likely to get distracted. I don't know.
Hot dude.
He was like, you know what, I would punch him in the face, but fuck, that jaw don't lie, and neither do I. But I mean, seriously, he was like, damn, nice beard, bro. Can I tickle it with something?
Thanks. We're just gonna rename this the Bearded Podcast. Yeah. Anyway.
But my point being, but then it doesn't really satisfy the LGBT community, or at least it shouldn't, because they want legit representation, but they get like this lame-ass substitute.
And this is relevant because the thing is, virtue signaling is very rampant in these newer movies and
it's
shows.
everywhere.
Because the thing is, they're trying to change things that most hardcore fans, and there are a lot of them, they're just trying to get a new base of fans, and we get it, but you're going to piss off the OG fans because they're used to something. It's not that they care whether they're gay or whatever like that. It's because they have known this character to be like this for so long, and then they change it all of a sudden. They're like, whoa, that's kind of out of left field. I mean, they had a love interest and everything like that. You know, obviously the Superman thing's a little different because it's his son.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. Venom. Venom.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Venom didn't really have much of that, or at least if it did, it was so minuscule that I didn't really...
Yeah, it seemed like they were in love with each other.
Well, I mean, they do have kind of a bromance going, but would that technically... Well, Venom technically doesn't have a gender, so... Because he can be...
He's already balls deep in Eddie Brock. They are together forever. And even when they leave, they think about each other.
Well, Eddie Brock went black, so...
Not the TV. Don't touch the TV.
That was funny. And see, that was a moment of comedy that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously Venom doesn't have the same sensibilities as Eddie. That's part of where the comedy comes from.
That wind feels great.
Oh, right in the keister.
Not the wind I passed.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Can
you feel that? It feels great.
I do now that you opened up the drapes a bit. Oh, that does feel good. It gets very hot here in the bunker. Why? Don't know.
Hey. With 30 stories below in a bunker.
One would think it would be cooler down here in the bunker.
We're actually in the ocean. Just kidding.
20,000 leagues under the sea. I know it's a whale with a tail.
20,000. Heard the accent come and go. So, Venom. Let's overall score 4 out of 5 for me.
See, for me, I tried to give it a letter grade, but it depends on how I'm thinking about it. If I'm thinking about it in terms of like a
schooling grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, if I'm thinking about it in terms of just like
this is B minus.
Well, it depends. So it's like if I'm thinking about this as just like fun popcorn fare, that I'm not taking it too seriously because it certainly doesn't. It's a B. You know, it's not perfect, but it could be a lot worse.
Could be.
Do what?
I said it could be.
It could be.
Anyway.
In terms of it being like a really good movie, like cinematically, it's a high C because again, it doesn't do anything spectacular.
There's a lot of talking.
Yeah,
and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we said earlier, we like story and whatnot, but there was a lot of talking and not a lot of action. Now the talking did keep you drawn in, but it was just kind of like, oh man, something's gonna happen, and then it was like, okay.
All the shit with that cop could have been written out.
Which part? I can't remember.
All the shit with the cop who, like at the beginning, he's the one who shot the chick in the face, and then like Eddie keeps having to go through him. Was that guy even in the first movie?
Yeah.
Was he? I didn't see him. Okay, but I mean, he wasn't even necessary.
Because no, Eddie was a reporter.
Yeah, I'm talking about the cop that he kept having to talk to.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think he was involved in the first one, and maybe he was a part of the Venom series.
Maybe, but here's my point: is at least in the context of this movie, he wasn't memorable.
Didn't he actually end up dying?
Well, obviously not, because he's there.
I can't remember.
The second one.
No. I mean, didn't he die in the second one?
No.
They saved him.
Yeah,
they saved him. But no, the cop. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if that part was left out, it wouldn't have hurt the story one bit.
I didn't even notice he was.
I mean, he was kind of a dick to Eddie Brock because
he's
because he could tell something was up. He's like, every time something happens, you're there.
Well, and then his chick didn't need to be there either, or his ex-chick or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she could have been written out of the story.
There could have been
I mean,
some
kind
stuff
of,
added.
but then at the same time,
Not
you know,
written out the story
it could have been rewritten.
minimal part.
It could have been rewritten and done a whole lot better.
because she wasn't even a love interest.
Well, and then here's the other thing. So, and this sounds very like snooty, but like, what's Eddie's motivation in this movie?
He had none.
What's his want? What does he want in this movie? Other than a TV.
Honestly, I actually kind of enjoyed that aspect because if you think
I
about
thought
it,
it was great.
because the thing is, just like Eddie Brock, he was like just floating through life, just kind of scraping by, and he's still doing the same thing, but he just has a freaking badass symbiote.
Well, but what it did inadvertently was take away all his growth from the first movie.
All right, actually, I have a big complaint, and it just popped in my head, and this kind of irritates the shit out of me. How was it that Eddie Brock and the symbiote were able to separate and not either get sick?
Oh, I thought about that too. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the first movie, didn't they establish that if the symbiote...
If they were apart for too long...
Yeah, but didn't they also establish that
Eddie Brock seemed just fine.
If the symbiote and the host weren't a good match, the host would eventually die, correct?
Yeah, and that's Venom actually killed a few people by forcing them.
But it's okay.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is,
It's all right.
They didn't even try to say anything about. Well, it's not that they're not a good match. It's when it's forced.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how eventually he drains them. It has to be mutual. It's like. Did you ever watch Supernatural?
Nope.
Oh, you missing out.
Anyway.
I know. So I've been told.
Really bad. It's such a great series. Anyway, demons can possess. And it doesn't matter. Obviously, they're demons. They can possess a dead body, and it.
But no, there's something to that.
Angels have to have permission in order to have a vessel.
Sure. Yeah,
so
but there's something
somewhat similar to Venom.
There's something to demons too, because some people, at least,
he's a demon and an angel.
Some people are predisposed to possession. That's established in a lot of folk, and
oh yeah, absolutely.
Even in the
I would definitely say those people
are a part of the SJW crowd.
Just gonna say it.
They've been possessed by something, all right.
Yeah, Biden's hand. Actually, I wouldn't even necessarily say Biden. I'd say someone else. Biden's not even in power.
Biden has a hand up his ass.
He's just a talking head.
Okay.
He doesn't talk that well.
We really don't want to be killed, so.
Just kidding.
We love you, Biden.
Just change the title. Biden is the best, and we'll get 1 million views.
Except we won't, because they'll call us our bullshit.
Well, no, we'll get the views. We'll get the hate views, and then we'll get so many thumb down.
That was kind of what the superior
bad press is
intelligence
still
podcast
press
was supposed to be.
And it didn't work.
No.
We tried.
We tried to bring the funny.
I mean, he was a badass feminist.
What? Yeah, I was.
Like, totally.
You know what? And that was my fault. I was going for more of an upspeak vibe, but I think I just went on like a really bad birdcage impression.
I had nothing. I was just like, kind of myself, just stupid.
You just had the Unabomber vibe going.
Yeah, right, with that fucking beanie. Actually, I don't even think the Unabomber. I think he had a hat.
Yeah, I think
right?
he had a hat. I believe.
I believe.
But anyway, I'm trying to think of any more. I was really bummed that they killed Cletus Cassidy, though. Oh, they killed Carnage too. Whatever happened? What happened to the symbiote again? Didn't Venom eat it?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome how he did that. He literally picked up Carnage and was like.
Oh yeah, but shouldn't they blend?
No, because
Could be
technically,
wrong.
if you think about it, like, I mean,
You get a power up though, for sure.
If I think that's how it goes. But I mean, if humans have stomach acid, imagine what the fuck those creatures have. So it should kill everything.
Yeah, you would think.
Or like you said, they melded. I like that word.
Absorbed.
Melding pot. They fused on a cellular level. I've got nothing. Oh, well, we're 50 minutes in. You want to keep keep going, or what do you want to do?
Ah, fuck, I think we pretty well covered it. Because, again, the only other disappointing thing with this movie is, like you said, there wasn't a ton going on, which was kind of surprising, because the first one had...
It was a relaxed movie. It was fun.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you know, there could have been more, but it was a fun time.
I would have just liked to see a little bit more crazy from Cletus. I think you could have...
A lot more. I think they could have made him fucking batshit crazy, and I would have loved it.
You know what, though, and I think... Because I like Woody Harrelson, and I think he could have played it, but I think if they'd gone with somebody a little bit more, first of all, younger...
Well, I mean, Woody Harrelson in freaking what's that one movie from back in the day, the Natural Born Killers? Did you ever watch that? He was pretty freaking psycho.
Oh no, I know he could do it.
And I was like, why didn't he like?
That's why I blame direction, because Woody Harrelson arguably can play he can play straight, he can play comedy, he can play psycho. So I'm blaming the director on this one, and he was probably on set like, don't you think it would be a good idea if I was more like this? And the guy's like,
no, I'll just go with
this is a comic book movie.
He's like, just try to be funny.
You know what Woody Harrelson's amazing in, and this is going to throw people for a loop. Did you ever see the movie Friends with Benefits?
No.
Okay, well, he's in that, and he plays...
was Vince Vaughn in that?
No, that was... that movie was Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis.
Oh, I was thinking Swingers.
Yes, you are. But Woody Harrelson's in it, and he plays the sports writer under Justin Timberlake at GQ, and he's incredibly gay, but he plays it so well. It's fucking hilarious. He's like, hey, thought we'd go out for lunch tomorrow, troll for cock. Just deadpan delivery. And he's like, oh, I'm not gay. He's like, really? He's like, you sure? He's like, hey, no problem, more for me. Fucking great.
I love Woody Harrelson's a great actor.
So did you know that Woody Harrelson went to college here? Right here in Indiana.
I did not know that. I like how, though, everybody saw that fake post, and they said that Woody Harrelson had a vehicle breakdown, and they took him to Burger King, and I was like, you know, he's a vegan, right?
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Well, they got veggie burgers.
Well, they didn't at the time.
Yeah.
I think that was Burger King's answer, and there's like, we're going to get veggie burgers because Woody Harrelson might break down and need a burger.
Well, no, Woody Harrelson went to Hanover.
Well, actually, it's just a veggie burger. It's not a vegan burger. He's a vegan. So he wouldn't eat cheese.
Well, it doesn't come with cheese. You have to ask for it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Whoppers are gay like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like cheese on my burger.
I know. Who the fuck wants a hamburger?
You're not fucking American.
What the fuck?
Actually, a lot of people like hamburgers.
Fuck them. American cheese on that sumbitch.
My brother likes hamburgers. He will literally go to...
You sure he's not Canadian? You're like,
No,
maybe.
he'll go to McDonald's and get a couple hamburgers and a coffee. And I'm like, dude, you are so grown up, it's not even funny. He's way more grown. I mean, he's like only a couple years older than me, so but the thing is it's hilarious. I was like, dog, that is like literally the most grown up thing I've ever heard. Couple hamburgers and coffee. I was like,
Senior
I'm
coffee.
proud. Me, I'm getting a kid's Coke, Happy Meal, couple of them because I'm fat, you know. Well, I saw almost.
Well, they got rid of the
6'2".
Mighty Kids meal, those bastards.
Yeah.
Well, was Mighty Kids meal McDonald's?
Yeah.
Oh.
It bridged that gap.
Here's the train.
Yeah, we flipped that switch a while ago.
It's all good. But
It's okay, because if you don't like the review, I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
You gonna cry? All right. Any last words of wisdom? Oh, that's when you know it's time to end.
Yeah. We're both tired.